1981, and the chart we're looking at is, did Wayne Williams drop a body in the river? So did the officer that heard the splash, did he hear Wayne Williams dropping a body in the river? And what else can we glean from this event chart? The first thing I note is Pisces rising. Now, that's water. It's always water. So, I mean, we're not really applying this chart to be him in particular. It's about the situation. So we do look to the ascendant for him, though, because it's his presence, it's his body, it's his self that is doing the action that we're looking at. So we use him, which is actually Jupiter, and Jupiter is in the 7th house of perpetrators and open enemies. So that's one thing that immediately connects Wayne Williams with being there at that time. Then if we look up here to Neptune, we see that it's right near the MC. Now, the closest aspect to Neptune is an opposition to Mercury. And Mercury is conjunct the IC, which is the end of the matter. And that is fascinating to me because I think it literally shows us what happened. The ascendant here, he's over here, the traditional rulership, so he's the enemy, but he's co-ruled here at the very top. Imagine this on a bridge. And then he's dropped a child. I don't believe he dropped an adult off that bridge. I believe there's a child that was put in the water that night. And I know that there are a couple of bodies that are undiscovered, but they found an adult in the water a few days later. But the fact that Mercury is in Gemini, it just really reiterates to me how young this person is. And it was an adult that was found in the water. I don't think that's the case. I do honestly think that he dropped from the top of the bridge a child into the water. And that's the end result, is this Mercury Gemini. Now, him being at 0 Libra, if we turn that into whole sign, as I would do for mapping, that's 180 degrees, which is straight down south. So this Jupiter being him here puts him at the bottom. So it coincides with this. It's like I can almost see Jupiter you could put it in place of Neptune and it would drop down the bottom. And that's what this is, 180 degrees is directly south. So he's up the top because he's got 2 rulers. He's the moon's co-ruling him as well. That's up the top in the 10th house. And then Jupiter is 180 degrees because that's the whole sign degrees for 0 Libra, which is down the very bottom. So yes, I think he did definitely drop a body in the river at that time. And then we know that bodies are represented by Saturn. And look at that, Saturn is right next to him, Jupiter. It's like he's carrying a body in his hands. Literally, that's how close it is. Then when we have a look at Pluto here in this 7th house, it's conjunct the 8th house cusp. So we've got Wayne Williams on a bridge dropping a body, which is there as well. There's a double backup for everything. Dropping a body and has intentions of getting rid of this body in the 8th house there of death. The 8th house is ruled by Venus. Venus is also in Gemini. So Maybe he put 2 people in the water. Maybe he put 2 people in the water that day. But that's a definite possibility, being that it's Mercury. But to just basically answer this question very easily, yes, I believe Wayne Williams dropped a body in the river. I think the pattern's right there. The water's there, up the top here. He's in the 7th house. There's a body right in his arms. He's ready to dispose of this body into the 8th house. And the tightest aspect is this opposition between Neptune and Mercury. So dropping from the top to the bottom.